you could be the greatest. But everything I do towards that, I don't succeed. Why? Great. Stay that way. Because it would probably be worse for the immortal plan of our lives to engage into that. That is probably an ability that was exercised in the past. Now we need to exercise other things. And through those, we revisit the way we see life. Completely. And the doctor of all doctors is Jesus. When we go to a doctor, we probably should pray, hoping that Jesus is there, assisting, tutoring our doctors. But the doctor for our souls, for our bodies, is there. And you know what's interesting is that when we start reading passages such as in this book, Boa Nova, Good News, 30 chapters that Brother X brought to us in 1940s. And he said, you know, if we could write everything about it, we wouldn't have many books, enough books to really display it. And he remembers us that this doctor was always a doctor before he incarnated. Now, let us go to the beginning so we know our doctor. That's why we're here. We need to know our doctor. He is the doctor. He is our therapist. He is our guide. He is our model. So we need to know of him. Not in a fundamentalist way, but in a God-sent way that embraces everybody and does not discriminate anybody. That's why he is all embracing. He doesn't say, no, I'm going to help you, but you, no. The more we misbehave, the closer he is. I'm not saying this to encourage everybody to misbehave, but we're just saying, it's funny, we spiritists, we say we're so charitable, but when people in our own families, or our own groups, our own communities, go into obsession, what do we do with them? We think we're so better, and we're like, push them away. Yeah, like, you're obsessed, and we're so charitable, so kind. And we want to be happy. And we want to be in harmony. But we are despising the very people who God sent into our lives. And are probably in greater need of help than anybody else. And we think we're so kind and charitable. But when they are at the edge of the abyss, instead of saying, hey, step backwards, come here. We're like, yeah, I know you're gonna go, do it. I knew it all along. And we think we're so charitable. But Jesus is the opposite. He comes just like with Judas. First thing he did after he was free from the physical body, rescue Judas. It is for us a message. We help our very enemies to regain serenity. A message that is stated by instructor Silas, chapter 9 of Book Action and Reaction. He says, we need to help our enemies and those who are falling into the abyss to regain our own serenity. If we're looking for serenity, let us walk the narrow pathway and through the narrow door and rescue those whom we are despising. We will never be in serenity if we keep walking, especially as spiritists, because we should know better. And if we can't go there physically, we go in our thoughts by sending praise. It's funny because in fraternal counseling, when we come, the mentors advise the person, look, you need to pray for this person whom you take as your enemy for the time being. Vanessa, pray? No way. Hey, pray. If you can't pray, exercise. A bad thought came about this person, Joana de Angelis says, substitute for a good one. Even if it's quickly, like, that person, okay, this person does this good, okay, dismiss. If you can't take it, but little by little, successive approximation, says the behavioralists, right? Go there and say, now I'm going to write down, if I cannot pray, this person is a child of God. We need to feel it. And then we will regain serenity that is missing inside of us. We're in this network. If we keep feeding vibratorily towards that and we don't resolve it, it's going to be bad. So in this embracing of the doctor of our lives, getting to know, we need to know who he was when he was little. He was so special. He was already a doctor. Of course. His mother, in this book, we get to know that in chapter 2, a conversation between Mary and her cousin Isabel. As a good mother, she's talking, saying, I cannot believe our children. But they were discreet. They are not like the mothers and fathers of nowadays, making big fuss about their children, because that's pride. Mary was like discreet and said, you know, I'm always surprised, Isabel. I often see them, and Jesus goes there, and when I see he's smiling, and he's talking to the people whom he doesn't know in the streets, and then one day he brought 2 criminals to our home. And Joseph and I were like stunned, and we were like, and he was feeding them, and he was a child. This does not surprise us. He didn't become anything in his 30s. He was billions of years before he incarnated. He already was before we even came to the planet Earth. He was pure. No wonder as a child he would be like this. This is our doctor. So when we doubt, can Jesus really? He was caring and loving as a child. And you know, surprising, we're doing a research because we talk about what Jesus said and did. Now we're investigating the non-verbal communication of Jesus. Jesus did not impact through his words and deeds alone. He impacted in a whole body of communication. It's what Mentor Joseph says, it's about spiritual elegance. He was refined, and only Spiritism brings to us this. And we were quite surprised, as the mentor said, go study it, research, do the statistics. He was smiling. The doctor, different from many doctors nowadays, whom you come to the office, they're like, okay, and they barely talk to you. Jesus knew our thoughts before he met us. He would, it's impressive, his look was therapeutic. We need to observe if our eyes are being used for kindness or not. Because Jesus healed by looking at people. We have the accounts. He would often smile. He would talk to the disciples smiling and talk to the people smiling. No wonder they crucified him. Because if a man today comes and smiles all the time, we would say, who is this man? It's like smiling all the time. I'll never forget when I moved to the United States in '98. I was my first month at the University of Maryland, and I remember my boss at the time, who is a genius, he came to me and said, Vanessa, are you happy here? I said, yeah. But I miss the moments we were smiling there, because people here don't smile, I told him. Why?